Here's a brief history of Legend of Mana for the PlayStation 1. It's July of 1999 and Legend of Mana would be released in Japan. The game wouldn't go on to be released in other markets until at least a year later in June 2000. The game was developed by Squaresoft and was directed by a man named Koichi Ishii, who has many credits from game series like Final Fantasy, Mana, and Legend of Zelda. Legend of Mana is actually the fourth game in the series. The first title, believe it or not, is Final Fantasy Adventure. Final Fantasy Adventure was then spun off into what is now known as the Mana series, which started with Secret of Mana. Legend of Mana would also be the first in the series on the PlayStation 1. So what is Legend of Mana anyway? Well, in general terms, it's an action RPG where you actually get to help build the world around you. While the game is primarily single player, the companion characters can actually be controlled by a second person, making this game co-op. It was composed by a lady named Yoko Shimomura, who has an insane amount of credits making video game compositions, one of which is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, Super Mario RPG. She's also worked on games like Street Fighter II, Breath of Fire, Front Mission, Parasite Eve, Tobal No. 1, and Kingdom Hearts. The list goes on and on. It's also worth noting that this game probably has some of the best hand-drawn visuals on the PlayStation 1. The game touted pre-rendered backgrounds as many Squaresoft titles did at the time. However, these honed a more anime-style theme. The sprite work for the characters, companions, and enemies is also top-notch. When asked about hand-drawn sprites versus using polygons, Ishii said, "My sense was that, given the PlayStation's graphical power, if we did the characters with polygons, they wouldn't look good enough to elicit the player's empathy. The reality is that hand-drawn characters are still better at that, for now." The game was extremely successful, selling over 900,000 copies in Japan alone before it even released into other markets. The game would go on to have 10 sequels, including numerous remakes. Legend of Mana was no exception and also had a remake released in 2021. And if you haven't played any of the Mana games, well, don't be intimidated. You don't need to play them in any particular order. According to Ishii, there's actually no chronological order between the Mana games. Additionally, none of the games take place in the exact same world, and any of the characters that may or may not appear in other titles are really more references than the actual character. In short, if you're interested in one of the Mana games, you may as well pick it up and play it. You're not going to miss anything from prior entries. So what do you think are going to help everybody rebuild the world in Legend of Mana? Let's see what everybody on the podcast thought this week.
Nice.
Hello, everybody.
New S rank? New S rank title?
Oh, for sure. You know it.
Could be.
Okay, perfect. We can end right there.
Great. Let's end the show.
Okay.
We don't have to talk
Appreciate
about it. I
everybody.
don't have to get verbally harassed about how I felt about this RPG.
Appreciate everybody being here. We have a few people over here on TikTok as well. Thank you guys so much. B-Tribe Wolf, brother Benny, what is going on? Thank you so much. And Diablo is over there as well. It's great to see you guys. And as well as here. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's so great to see you guys. Missed you guys last week. Missed you guys through the week. We've been kind of busy. We're trying to knock some stuff out. So we are back at it in full force.
I'm like a 70% force, but there's a force that's happening, so I'm feeling it.
There's a force. Use the force.
Yep.
Using the force, yeah. Yep.
Not too
I was
bad.
a little under weather this last weekend, but and then family stuff the weekend prior, so it's been like, and then work's been crazy. So I'm it's like I'm cherishing what little time I have to actually play games. So
Right.
It's been interesting.
Trying to squeeze it in as best as we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically.
And it makes it harder when you're trying to squeeze in a game that sucks.
Shots fired, huh?
Already.
I hated this game.
I would think
his personal preference, he feels the game sucked.
I think I would tell you that many millions of people completely disagree with you, and sales figures alone prove that. So
that's great. I mean, sales figures on a new game of a series doesn't really count.
But I'm speaking more to the fact that there has been like 9 direct sequels to this game. So like I think
sequels to Final Fantasy, and they suck too.
What was the last game that they came out with?
The last Mana game, the Mana series?
Yeah, not like a remake. I mean, or a remaster, like the actual last game that they brought out in the series.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't think it was. Dawn is like too new or too old. Let me see here. Visions of Mana.
And what system did that come out on?
That was on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows, and then the Xbox Series S and X.
Really?
And that actually. Wait, actually, that's coming out.
Mr.
August
Boneyard, thank you so much for
year.
stopping in over here on TikTok with the follow, brand new follow there.
So that one's coming out in like 2 weeks.
Gross.
So that's coming out in 2 weeks. Okay.
Brand new.
Okay.
Brand new.
Very fitting for the game that we played this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lucky draw that this game is coming out, and we played this game this week.
Hell yeah. No,
yeah. Lucky for some people, not lucky for Slow-Mo.
Personal preference for some people. I mean, me, I loved RPGs back in the day. I don't have a problem with them myself. It's just, as we've already discussed, the time frame on trying to squeeze in stuff that we're doing, also squeezing time with our families, and then working 40 hours. It's just, I don't have as much time to do an RPG as I used to back in the day.
Yeah, I 1000% like understand that, and it was more or less to just kind of like chuck one your way and see what people thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed what I played.
Well, and that's what I would argue that this one was at least different than, say, something like Final Fantasy VII that has I should say extremely time-consuming random encounters, but it's like in this one, at least the random encounter is you're running around. It's more like Chrono Trigger, so they just jump out, you do the battle, it's over, and you keep moving through the map. There's no like load screen in between the fight. It's pretty fast-paced overall, in my opinion. But I knew that the story element to it would just murder Slow-Mo's soul. So I would.
This is different than anything we've played so far, and it's different than it has a different feel than like Brave Fencer Musashi had more of like a Zelda feel to it. And I agree with Beyond Oasis had that same like Legend of Zelda feel, more actiony RPG.
Yeah,
this was definitely more story based, and I mean they're all story based, but this one is more like those games you don't run around for 20 minutes talking to everybody in a town trying to figure out where you got to go.
I like,
that's RPG.
Who on you, Squaresoft, for trying to world build? I don't know.
And I get it. Like people like these types of games, and that's cool. I mean, I'm just a very niche gamer, and I only like certain things, and this ain't one of them.
Yeah,
that is okay.
I mean, hell of
an opening there, Shadow. I really enjoyed it. Looks good. Definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll have to post it to the channel too. I've got all the ones that I've done. I need to post to the channel. I mean, they're done. I just got
they're there.
They're there.
All you have to do is put them in Google Drive, and I'll take care of it.
If that's what you would like. Anyway, that's business logistics. So. I'm most curious. I mean, I could talk about the things that I do like. Actually, should we start on a positive note or the downside? Which would you rather do first, Slow-Mo?
You might as well go ahead and do
positives.
Who I do?
Yes, you have to have. So here's what I'll say.
Okay, like the game looks good, it sounds good, it plays good. I just don't like the game.
Okay, so there perfect.
You go.
Let's start at that because I would like
pretty straightforward with that.
I would like to say. Go ahead. Sorry.
The guy who made that you were talking about in the video that said that hand-drawn characters work better or whatever. I love the games with hand-drawn characters. Like I play a lot of Metroidvanias that are indie that have a lot of hand-drawn elements to it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. So this game being hand-drawn is fantastic. I do like it, but it's still an RPG and it still sucks for me.
I will say. Just focusing on the visuals first, I will say this game has probably some of the most diverse, like backgrounds, areas, and for all of it to, I mean, the sprite work is like top notch. Like it looks
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It truly is just an insanely beautiful game, and it makes me desperately want to play the remake because I have the remake too, which I haven't even opened. And I didn't really look into it, but people are like, it's better in every way. They're like, they just basically enhance the visuals. There's quality of life improvements. You can turn off random encounters if you want. Like there's a lot of different things that I'd be really curious as to, like, after playing this and going to that, if
Right.
anybody would even recommend the PS1 version.
Probably for
like-
nostalgia aspect, I can see.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing quite like playing, you know, a PS1 game in a PS1 environment for sure.
Right.
The soundtrack I thought was great too. I liked it a lot. And you know, I typically do. I don't play a ton of RPGs. I mean, there's a few big names in RPGs, especially on the PS1. You know, SquareSoft is one of those companies. Atlas is another. Working Designs. Squaresoft kind of got to a point where this is like the PS1 was their golden era, and there's actually a set of games called the Millennium Collection, which there's Legend of Mana, Brave Fencer Musashi, and Threads of Fate. It's those 3 titles that fall within that grouping. And in my opinion, those are like the 3 biggest risks for Squaresoft because they were the most different from the
Right.
traditional Squaresoft series of games that they release. And so this was like kind of a risk. And I think it was a cool risk. There's a lot that I appreciate about it. I get why you don't like it, Slow-Mo. I truly do. At its core, I understand that this is just not your type of game. You would not sit down and want this, but
No.
I think there's a lot to appreciate there.
And like, you know, this game has a lot of time that you can put into it, and I did not put a lot of time into it. Like I tried really hard to sit down and play this game, and a couple of times that I played it, I could make it about 30 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I'm done here.
Right.
And like the first time I sat down and played it, I didn't even like really get into combat hardly. Like towards the end, right at the very end, I spent 30 minutes running around talking to everybody in this first part of the world, trying to figure out where I need to go. And then I found a guy, and then I had to run around the town and talk to everybody in the town again to figure out where I needed to go again.
Figure out where he wants. Yeah.
Well, there's some.
Chaos said,
"Oh, what's he gonna
RPG? Slow-Mo hates RPGs that aren't named Baldur's Gate 3."
Yeah, you know, I find that so ironic. I truly do.
It's because it's with friends. If
Well,
I'm playing games with people,
we've been
like,
very strong.
Is this game about that? Co-op?
Yeah.
Is this game co-op?
Great point. It is co-op, and
I could have played. I could play a co-op.
What's even cooler about it, not only is it co-op, but a friend can bring over their own character on their memory card and load it into the game as a companion. So you get to play as your own character in somebody else's game. So there's some cool features with that. And the fact that it's even couch co-op, you don't even have to do that. Somebody else can sit down, grab the second player controller, and play the companion that you currently have. Like, that's nice.
I could play this co-op.
Unheard of.
But just sitting here playing it by myself, like skipping through cutscenes and then not knowing what I'm supposed to do.
What story?
Right. I mean,
well, if you wanna show my gameplay, I'll kind of give it the once over.
Sure. Give it
let's do that.
Time into this, not 100, not a bunch of time, but I did enjoy the fact of the island building. It took me a little bit of time to kind of get used to what was happening. Like Slow-Mo said, running around the town a couple times to try to talk to everybody, and then finally figure out what you're supposed to do. Then when you came to try to find the lost princess, like you said, very Chrono Trigger feeling with the action, the fighting. The boss battles were I got through 2 boss battles from what I played, which the sprites were huge. I really enjoyed that. I was very pleasantly surprised about that. It wasn't too overly difficult from what I played. Leveled my character up a bit. I like the fact that you can change different types of weapons however you want. The equipping system wasn't really that bad. The more and more you did, obviously there's gold that you have to get, and then buy whatever equipment. But yeah, all around I thought this was pretty good. I just don't in my current status don't really have a lot of time to do a lot in RPGs. Back in the day when I was in high school or whatever, I would probably have played through and beaten this. I could see myself. I definitely enjoyed it. Like I said, there are multiple artifacts that you find. Obviously, you see right there the map. You know, you build the map up. You check a bunch of different stuff. A bunch of different personalities. But overall, I thought it was pretty great. Like you guys said, the soundtrack was pretty great. Top tier, you know, exactly what you would expect from this type of game. The sound effects were pretty great. You know, definitely that RPG-esque for PlayStation 1 all the way around. So I definitely enjoyed what I got to play. I just wish I had more time in the way things are to play a little bit more. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed what I played.
Nice.
Well, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I'm so glad both of you enjoyed it.
Well, I don't really know what else to say about it. I mean, the opinion.
Chaos over at you over on TikTok says, I'm super excited for Visions of Mana to drop at the end of the month. We were literally just talking about that a little bit ago. So yeah.
So I'm curious. Is that? I mean, it sounds like you're gonna pick that up, Chaos. Are you a fan of the Mana series as a whole, or
He
is
actually
this just
posted on YouTube? I really love the Mana games, but I haven't played them in years.
Oh, okay, all right.
So he is a fan.
There
Okay,
you go.
yeah.
So this was my very first try in any of the Mana games. Actually a small small story. I don't know if I talked about this when this came up on the wheel or not. I got this game for $1 at a flea market. This guy had CDs in a bunch of different bins, and normally I don't go look for music because it's like, okay, CDs, they're $1 a piece. So I just happened to look through all of these CDs the guy had, and I saw a spine of a PlayStation 1 game. I pulled it out. It was Legend of Mana. It was complete except for the fact that it didn't have the manual. So I brought it to the guy. I was like, hey, yeah, how much for this? And he was like, where'd you find it? I said, in the CDs. I didn't tell him what it was. He was like, all right, give me $1. I'm like, I'll take it. So I do have a hard copy of this, missing the manual. So that was a pretty rare find for me.
I'd sell it immediately.
That's awesome. Yeah, Legend of Mana. I mean, like if this is the type of game you're looking for, like it's not. I mean, $1 is a steal. I mean, truly.
I enjoyed I enjoyed it. You could look at it as an overall story, but the different small missions you do, it's like really little stories between, you know, all the people that you interact with. It's small stories, small quests, you know. So overall, if it seems like depending on who you unlock and what locations you unlock, you can pretty much do them in almost any order. So,
you know,
yeah,
I'm looking. This is only $dollars loose, so it's $45.50 complete in box. But I just want to point out, back in like early 2021, this game was $91 complete in box. That's how much prices have dropped.
That's crazy.
So that was around the time when I actually got it for $1. I've had it for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, here's slow-mo. This won't pick up on the camera. Way at the bottom. Anyway, the Legend of Mana remake came out in 2021. So okay. I'm sure people were like, why am I going to spend $90 on Legend of Mana when I could spend $30 and get the remake, you know, or whatever. So that wouldn't surprise me.
Any voice acting at all in the remake, or is it still pretty much the same?
You know, I don't know. I've seen very little on the remake, like outside of it, like visually, and it visually looks good. But I don't know if it's like a third party or something like that. That I've seen people play a kind of remake of Final Fantasy VII, but not the new remake, to where they were going through the game and literally someone went and superimposed voice acting over the dialogue lines. So I wasn't sure if that was something. Yeah, somebody was playing Final Fantasy VII the other day, and it was like the old Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 1. But when the dialogue came up, someone was literally they superimposed some voice actors to actually read the dialogue. Was it like a ROM hack kind of thing?
I don't know. I think Griff was actually playing one of them. I don't know if he was playing 7 or 8, but somebody was playing it, and I'm like, I don't remember these voices ain't supposed to be in here. So
Yeah. I guess when you don't have the limitation, God, I hate to even call it a limitation, but the limitation of like CD storage,
Yeah.
you could make it as big as you want, and it's not a
Right.
big deal. But I don't know.
Yeah, they do that with games, so they'll add voice work.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd be curious to see somebody do that. That'd be a fun project.
I could
to
see
them be.
people. I could see people going back and playing more of the older RPGs. Because a lot of people nowadays, I mean, within reason, most RPGs now are voice acted for the main stuff at least. This one just seemed like the entire game was like voiced over. So I don't know.
We should, as a group, we should voice over Super Mario World with really stereotypical Italian accents.
I'm not sure I could even do an Italian. I don't know. I can do a decent Mario, but I don't think I can do a decent like Italian accent.
Right.
I mean, it's an
I'll
Italian.
study
That's
up
like
on
the stereotypical like New York Italian accent. That's what that is.
I'll study up on it and see what I can do, but no promises.
Right.
All right.
Super Mario World. Yeah.
I don't know. This is the first game that popped into my head.
Okay. All right.
I couldn't think of any other like stupid game to voice over. Donkey Kong. I don't know.
What would you voice over it?
Just
basically be making gorilla noises.
That's cool.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess it's better than nothing. You could do,
but you don't really have to because they kind of add those in anyway.
Well, you should replace them. That's the thing. Obviously, you could do it better. So,
for sure.
I think you should replace those sound bites with whatever. So
Slomo, what do you feel? What do you feel about the game?
Yeah,
I hate it.
Do you have any?
I thought I made that very.
Do you have any?
clear.
Do you have any gameplay to show us?
I don't. My video was still rendering.
It's all good. All good.
I had to make 3 videos today because I slacked and I didn't make the intro or the wheel video, and then I was like, oh, I didn't make those, so I rushed to do those. And by the time they were done and I got my video going, it was like 5:30.
So I made I think it's like 10 minutes. It's got to be around 10 minutes. Like review, almost like it's not even really a review. I hate to call it a review, but more of like a discussion around the Borderlands movie that came out.
Oh yeah.
How was it?
Because I saw it and I feel like the internet is going way too harsh on that movie. 1,000%.
Is it getting bad reviews?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like tanking in reviews. It had a horrible box office weekend. The movie had like $120 million budget, and the opening weekend it made like $9 million. Like just
I don't see how anybody
million.
could like trash anything that has Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Well, it's an interesting thing because it's like you could say whatever you will about Eli Roth, but he's a director that's been in Hollywood for a long time. He's made a lot of things. He's a competent director. There's I mean, the production design of the movie is really good. I mean, it looks like Borderlands. There's a lot of practical effects stuff that is really good, and I like it a lot. The cast is in it. Huh?
I said Jack Black's in it.
And what's funny
who
about
does
that,
Claptrap, right?
He's the voice of Claptrap, and what's so silly about it is people were giving him crap about that, and I'm like, he's a perfectly fine Claptrap, and I don't think people understand or realize like how truly annoying Claptrap is in the games. Like I played Borderlands 1 for I don't know like 3 hours yesterday, and I was like, dude, this thing needs to shut the F up. And Jack Black I never felt that way once about Claptrap in the movie. I thought it was totally fine. It's just weird. And the movie's 90 minutes. It is a fast-paced, moving 90-minute movie.
Right.
That while the story is a little like generic, it's a story. It's the hero's story. We've all heard it before. But it's fine. It's so weird to me that it's like review-wise, people are just bombing it, and I'm like, it's a competent film. It
over here on TikTok, Diablo says I was already disappointed with Borderlands when I saw the first trailer. The whole movie is miscasts.
But you know what? Like at that point, it's a borrowing of the source material anyway. In my opinion. Now you're gonna get me raging. I'm gonna get raging on a whole other topic other than Legend Mana. But the thing is like the characters that they basically cast, they're obviously characters from the Borderlands games. And the people are older. I'm not saying they're like, geriatric, but they're older. Jamie Lee Curtis is playing an older version of Tannis. God, her name was just in my head because she's so freaking smoking hot. The person that plays Lilith, I already forgot her name. Anyway, she's older. And you know what? Part of me is like, who gives a crap? They play it fine. And it doesn't follow the story of Borderlands anyway. There's their own story. It has vault hunters. Yes, Kate Blanchett. Sorry. And it has some of the same characters, same destinations, whatever. But it's like it's a different story. It's like I just like I don't know why anybody cares about that. And
I only played the first two. I enjoyed the first two. I haven't been against seeing it. I just haven't had a chance to see it. So,
well, and I don't even know if I would necessarily like at this point because it's doing so poorly. Like, you may as well just wait until it goes to a streaming service. It's going to be fast tracked to a streaming service because it's not doing well in a theater. And I just think it's one of those things where it's. I don't know. I thought it was completely fine. I mean, even like saying Kevin Hart is not Roland is kind of weird. He plays a fine Roland. Like, did you see the movie Diablo, or did you just refuse to see it because you didn't like the trailer? Because that's kind of the thing is like he's a fine Roland throughout that movie. I don't have a problem with him.
I've learned not to pay attention to reviews.
Yeah, he said he can't take Kevin Hart seriously. I mean, to each his own. I mean, there's everybody feels a specific way about certain stuff. Like what else did they just come out with? They came out with a Fallout. Was that a TV series or was that a movie?
Yeah, it was a TV series.
As far as that got pretty good reviews and stuff like that.
It's pretty good.
I haven't had a chance to check any of that out. I guess it's personal preference, really. So,
go ahead, Salma.
I was just gonna say one of my favorite directors of all time just constantly gets shit on, so I don't pay attention to reviews anymore.
Yeah. Yep. I it's one of those things where I'm like, I truly movies and cinema are a drastically different medium than games. People like to compare them because there's things like cutscenes in games, and folks like Hideo Kojima make games more like movies now more than, but they are not the same thing. I mean, you cannot compare a game that is 40 plus hours of playtime to a movie that's 90 minutes. Like that, that'll never translate.
You can't delve absolutely everything we know into it. So yeah, I completely get that.
And a director will never sit down and go, hey, why don't I just make this thing that's already been made, but in a movie format? Like, they're never going to do. No director signs on to that because they're like, why would I waste my time doing something so uncreative?
Every video game movie, because first of all, they make video game movies out of video games that are extremely popular. So they already have a fan base that is like wild,
Right.
Like they're dedicated, diehard fans of these series. Then they make a movie out of it, and they're like, it's not exactly like I anticipated from the games. It's not gonna be. Like, you can't expect that.
And I think it's so funny too, because like even this argument. So I'm not latching on you, Diablo. I'm just kind of reading our comment. But it says Lilith and Tannis are too old. Roland taller and more serious. Tiny Tina came in the second game. I mean, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with that story. So all of these characters are Borderlands characters. They wrote
it's
their
basically
own story.
It's basically what they did with Mortal Kombat 1. They completely changed everything. It's going to be completely different. It's just a clean slate for them for what they feel.
They took liberties. They took the aesthetic and the characters and just took as many liberties as they wanted to and made a game with the name.
Right.
And with the name. That's really all it is.
And I would also argue that we don't make the fight when it's in the opposite realm. Like the Alien movies, you could be a diehard fan of the Alien movies, and then it's like, what was the Alien Isolation comes out? Nobody goes, oh, but this doesn't follow the. It's its own thing. It's its own thing. People making stuff up, taking liberties with the world, the characters. And here, this is my final thing, and I'll shut the hell up about this movie. I promise you. I am not saying that this movie is the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like you should run out and go see it right now. I just fundamentally don't understand the hate for it. It reminds me so much of something like Metal Gear Survive, where people like before it even came out, they were like boycotting it, refused to play it, and then hated it without even playing it. And I'm like, as a longtime Metal Gear fan, I was like, that was a really fun game. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I'm sad it got so slammed, by people who never even played it. I'd just say give it a chance, man. It's a movie. It's a 90-minute movie. And it was a fun little
to digress back. Let's go ahead and rate this game real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. Give me just a second.
Do you have any trivia for us, Shadaloos, after we rate this?
I don't. I found a little because there's no like the Legend of Mana quizzes are like on the Mana series, and then the Squaresoft quiz I found I think was one we just did. So okay. I don't. Yeah,
that's cool.
Couldn't find any trivia.
We can do that. We can talk a little bit. We can roll the wheel.
All right. Let's rank the game. As you can see, I have strategically placed Legend of Mana in the F category. No indicator of how I feel about the game. That being said, give it a D. I'll give it an F. It's not a good game. And it's going based solely off my opinion of how I feel about this game, and I hate it. But it's not like, it's playable. It's just not my type of game. And before the show, I said I didn't want to rank this thing, and I was told I had to. So. I told you it was going to hurt.
It is a trifecta.
But also, I realize that y'all are probably going to give this game like an A.
I wouldn't assume that. I wouldn't assume that at all. Hold on.
All right, rank it then, Shadaloos.
Gremlins coming in. Hold on, Slenny. I'm on the.
I personally would put this. I personally will put it probably at a B because I can I enjoy. Like I said, I enjoyed what I played. I can see that they definitely put their heart and soul into the small stories inside of the overall story of the game. I enjoyed the fact that you could build the map pretty much however you wanted. You can interact with any of the small stories in any order that you could. You had 6 or 7 different types of weapon classes that you can use per your personal preference. The armor wasn't really too bad. And like I said, the soundtrack was great. If I had more time into this, I would definitely probably play a little bit more. I don't know if I would beat it, but I would definitely play it a little bit more. But overall, feeling like it didn't feel broken. The controls were pretty fresh. Soundtrack was great. Each character seemed to have like different personalities, so it really felt like they gave the best chance this game could for what it was. So I'd say it was a B.
So I am incredibly inclined to agree with you on the B front. So here's the thing. Just for the same reasons. I was wondering about that. For the same reasons that we kind of said, it has a fantastic soundtrack. This is probably one of the most beautiful, like sprite-based games I've ever seen. Definitely from the PS1 era. Looks amazing. Love it. Gameplay-wise, it's not fundamentally broken. It's an action RPG. Sure, it's maybe a little long in the tooth with dialogue or talking to people or whatever you want to say, but I understand that it would not be for everybody. But if you like action RPG style games like that, definitely PS1 era stuff, I would think you would absolutely like this game. I think from the original, there's a lot of backtracking. And I think from like the town point of view, like kind of walking through the map on the town is a little tedious. So those are kind of the things that I like knock it back on. But overall, it's like it's a damn fine game. Okay.
Well, and so one of the other things that I will at least attest to when it came to the sizes of the locations, each of those locations, I think I unlocked like 6 different locations, and I checked out each one. It was kind of like, yeah, there's a lot to do, but in each location, it wasn't really too overly big for each individual location. So, yeah, you had to kind of check things out. You had to talk to a bunch of different people, but it wasn't like, like when I'm playing Final Fantasy, any of the Final Fantasy games, it's literally like some of these cities are like so huge. It's like I seriously don't know if I'm checking every single crevice. A lot of these locations were small enough to where it was kind of there were plenty of screens to go with, but it wasn't like, oh my god, you could really keep in order of, hey, all right, I've checked this area, I've checked this area. There's like 2 or 3 more areas, that's fine. It wasn't overly big for me, so
Yeah, if there's
That's what she
anything
said.
Freedom hates doing, it's checking crevices,
right.
But yeah.
Overly big crevices.
Well, and so final point, I name me one other PlayStation 1 RPG that has co-op.
That was
it's one you could actually sit down with like a friend and play through if you wanted to. So I there's a lot I think to appreciate about this game. I think a B is very fair. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't know if I have anything else to say on the matter that I haven't already said.
Sounds like we're averaging out at a C then.
Yeah,
Chaos over on TikTok says, I was a fan of these games. The action, the skill trees, the crazy boss fights, etc. The story was just kind of told to you through a floating eyes overlay on the screen, and then says, I check every crevice. So
Heck,
yeah, completionist.
Master crevice checker.
Right.
We got Colin Griffin over on YouTube that says, one of my all-time favorites.
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
I'm glad you enjoyed it too.
Well, Colin, would you rate the game a C, or would you find that incredibly unfair?
Well, it's only like we said before, it's only a group thing, so
yeah. I mean, for me, a D was nice because
whatever. All right,
personal
I'm moving
preference.
past
Personal preference. That's okay.
I mean, yeah. It's just something I don't enjoy. Kind of like there's games you hate. I'm sure. Right?
You know what? There are a lot of games that I've played that I did not enjoy at all, but I never would have rated it an F because I gave it an unbiased benefit of the doubt for what it was. But I don't care.
An F. I gave it
I
a
don't
D.
care anymore. Truly don't care. There's a level of caring. I've surpassed it.
Light episodic
no
fairy
more.
tale. The crafting and placement of artifacts could use some touching up.
There you go. And that is why they remade the game.
Yeah, they did.
Nice.
I would be interested in playing this with somebody. Like co-op, I think I would enjoy it more. I mean, I know I would enjoy it more because, anytime I play a game like this, I got to play with somebody.
Diablo over on TikTok says,
if a game is co-op.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I want to play it co-op.
Diablo over on TikTok says, I would love to see you guys play Legend of Dragoon. I haven't played that in so many years.
Yeah, it's been a long time
ago.
You know who would hate to see us play Legend of Dragoon? Me.
Griff.
Oh.
Me.
Well, you could just watch us play it. You don't have to play it. You could just sit there and watch it.
Yeah, y'all.
But you'd have to be there for every minute of it.
I'll be there for commentary.
Okay, perfect.
Let's see what next week's game is going to be.
Oh, yes. We can do that. Alrighty. Let's do it.
Roll them.
Here's a game Shadowloo's excited for.
Not to be biased at all, but I'm definitely going to say this is going to be S rank number 3.
Oh, man. Well, maybe I'll play it and go, oh, man, I hate F rank. I'm going to average it down to a C, baby. You wait now. No.
Slow-Mo Diablo says, I'm going to stream a Sonic game just for Slow-Mo one night.
Well, he's going to stream it by himself because I ain't going to be there.
You don't like Sonic games either?
I don't like Sonic. It gives me a headache.
Okay.
Sonic makes me physically ill.
What, like just the original Genesis ones?
The speed of everything, and the flashing of it just makes me want to throw up.
If anything, the soundtracks in all the games are absolutely top tier. But
no, I agree. The Sonic soundtracks are good, but actually playing a Sonic game makes my eyes hurt.
Some monsters in my pocket. We should see if we can get some of those toys.
Have played most of this game already.
That's what I was gonna say. Both of you have played it. I'm going in completely blind. So
I've played most of it. It's not that hard. Like the first time I ever played this game, I made it almost to the end.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
I feel like so.
Soundtrack's pretty great for what it is. I can definitely like some of those levels. You'll probably see when I go to stream it or capture it. You can see me kind of bopping to the music because the music is pretty top tier. So
Yeah, this is a pretty good game. Speaking of games, Shadowless needs a replacement for Legends of Mana, and Freedom needs a replacement for Monsters in My Pocket.
I was gonna say I'm assuming it is on there. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. But is Mystical Ninja 64 on that list at all?
No,
it's not. I didn't put that on
No.
there. Yeah, put that on there. Mystical Ninja 64.
Which one is
first
that?
one. The first one absolutely needs to be on there.
Okay.
Replacement for monsters.
You know, we have not played an N64 game on this show yet.
How
that's
about
true, we haven't.
How about
Lover.
the first Turok?
Really?
Yeah.
Which is also an N64 game. All right.
N64 game. Let's throw some more on there. Yes.
I feel like next time I have to like pick a N64 game by like default. Wave Race.
Wave Race.
We're gonna play Wave Race.
That probably wouldn't be bad. I mean, that'd be a fun little game. I mean, even like Diddy Kong Racing kind of has a story.
Does it?
Chaos says, "Hooray! N64 first appearance." There's already an N64 game on there, and that's Bomberman 64.
Hell yeah, that's a great one too.
Has never been rolled.
Yeah.
It's never been rolled.
You know what's funny is I like genuinely rank the N64 pretty dang low in terms of console generations.
I have that Diablo.
One of my favorite games.
So over on TikTok, Diablo says, once I get it, I think the first PS2 game I'm going to stream is 50 Cent Bulletproof. I have both of those games for the PlayStation 2. Not too bad.
I feel like if I'm going to make you all play an N64 game, it's going to be one I grew up with. It's probably going to be Gex.
Gex?
Oh, God. Gex on the 64 too is...
I'm down with that. We could do that, or we could... Did Croc come out on 64, or was that PlayStation 1?
That was PlayStation, yeah.
Okay.
I think Croc was Saturn and PlayStation.
Okay.
So...
No,
I don't know about Croc too, though.
Ooh,
I really
Diablo says Shadows of the Empire. Yes, dude.
Shadows of the Empire.
Talk about people like losing their stuff when it comes to the controls.
Shadows of the Empire was great when I was a kid. I love that game. I played it so much.
Yeah.
I tried to play it a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago. Terrible. Did not age well.
Yeah, it's pretty tough for sure.
It's just the controls, and you know, but I will eventually put an N64 game on there because Kirby Crystal Shards.
Well, if you guys want, I actually on Steam I bought a collection a couple months ago of Star Wars games that came out. It was like 10 games for like $20, and Shadows of the Empire is actually on there, so you could play Shadows of the Empire on Steam with keyboard and mouse.
Look, I have a thing. I have an idea. So on Steam, you can do like family plans. Like a family thing where you can link accounts, and like if I own a game, you all can play it. I say we do that because you know there's some Steam games that I would love for y'all to play. I'm
on the final boss of Gravity Circuit right now.
Yeah, but like
I just got done downloading.
I would throw on this list so quick.
So have you heard of Cyber Shadow?
Cyber
Shadow is basically like a 8-bit homage to Ninja Gaiden, which I started playing the other day, and I think I'm like two-thirds of the way through. Amazing game, amazing soundtrack, pretty fresh. I think you guys would enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I saw you playing that the other day. Maybe that's the one I was looking at, because I was like, one of those, I was like, oh, is that the kind of like Mega Man-ish one that I know Slow-Mo was playing at one point? But I was like,
that's
like
Gravity Circuit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely make you all play like Ender Lilies.
I don't even know.
I know you all would probably hate it. I think Freedom would like it more than Shadowless. It's a Metroidvania.
It's called what now?
Ender Lilies. Ender Lilies.
Okay.
It's a beautifully designed game. The boss fights are ridiculously stupid. Like
like
hard.
difficult?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, then I probably hate it. I don't
You
it
probably
depends. I'm not
You would
against the
rage.
challenge. I'm not
You would
against the
rage.
challenge. But if
No,
there's
like,
just like unnecessarily stupid stuff, I will get pissed off, you know.
I love a good game that makes me rage. And Metroidvanias do that for me, and that's why I love them so much. Because they're challenging,
Nice.
and they're usually a lot of the indie ones are like hand drawn and just really pretty looking.
Yeah.
Another one I would make you all play is Ori. You all would be playing.
Oh,
that
or
too.
yeah, I played Ori.
Ori is so good.
There's
I don't
what?
know.
Is
They
there
came up with 2
3 of
different
them?
ones, didn't they?
No?
Yeah,
Or is there
Will
2?
of the Wisps and the Blind Forest or something
Yeah.
like that.
Pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Some of the newer like side-scrolling games, I'm like 50-50 because every once in a while something comes across my plate like Celeste, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's amazing. Or even Super Meat Boy like sucked me in. I was like, this is great. But there are some
all
I'm just like, I don't care.
they all have that like Hollow Knight feel to them,
Yeah.
which I don't think you've played.
I
Have you?
haven't played Hollow Knight.
I've played a little bit.
That makes me so mad.
Why though?
I don't know.
Do you own
Do you
stock
feel about
in Hollow
Metroid?
Knight
Do you
playtime or something?
Do you feel about Metroidvanias how I feel about RPGs?
I would not rank a Metroidvania F rank besides Super Metroid, and that's for good
I didn't
reason.
rank anything enough. I ranked it a D.
Okay, I would. I don't think I would just automatically rank a Metroidvania game a D. Because inherently of its genre. But I don't know. I mean, it's like I was the one who recommended Blasphemous, and I played Blasphemous.
Oh,
I played
I've been
Symphony
playing
of the
Blasphemous
Night.
2. I've been playing Blasphemous 2. It's so good.
That's
See,
what I'm
I
saying.
haven't
No,
both.
I'm like,
I haven't
not
both
against it.
downloaded. I want to play Blasphemous 2, but I want to finish Blasphemous 1 first.
I'm trying to think of honestly.
They're
I'd be curious
both
if
amazing games.
I'm honestly trying to think of like instant turn up, like things that I would never want to play. Is there a genre that instantly I'm like, nope, I have zero interest in playing that? And I'm curious to hear what yours
games?
are. I think what?
Sports games?
Souls games.
I see. I wouldn't even have a problem with sports games, but I think the one for me is like Battle Royale. Like I've never played Fortnite. I have no desire to play Fortnite. I played PUBG at like one point, and I was like, okay, I understand this. I don't have a desire to go back and play that. Like
Again, that's something like with friends, it's fine.
Right.
With nobody, it's stupid.
I guess
Most
I
of
don't
the
know.
Souls games, I just don't have the patience for the little bit of time that I have to play. I've only tried the first Dark Souls. I haven't tried the second or the third. I don't have a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5, so I can't do Bloodborne.
Bloodborne's
I mean,
fun,
Elden
yeah.
Ring,
Blasphemous is a
I was pretty
Souls-like
great.
game.
Yeah, well, in a side scrolling, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But like Elden Ring, I got probably about halfway and then I put it down. So I enjoyed what I played with that, but for the most part, the Souls games, I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on them. And it's going to sound so trendy hipster, but I remember when Demon Souls came out, the first Demon Souls for the PS3, and it felt like I mean, I was watching gaming news back in the day very closely, and that was one of those things that came out. And I'm like, dude, nobody is talking about this. Like, it felt like such an under the radar game, and I was like, this is crazy interesting, super fun. And then all of a sudden, Dark Souls came out, and it was like everybody loved it. It became a thing, and it's like I could see that. It's one of those genres, those kind of like genre defining games that I could see coming down the pike. That was like, oh yeah, this is going to change everything. It's going to kind of create that genre. But I'm with you. I've never played a single Dark Souls game. I got sucked into Elden Ring and a Bloodborne.
So I tried to play Demon Souls back in the day, and this was before this was like I'm playing Call of Duty, and that's really it. I went through that phase, and I tried to play Demon Souls with a friend who I played Call of Duty with, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm not playing this anymore. But I would be curious to go back and play them now that I've played like a lot of the Souls-like Metroidvanias where they're just like stupid hard boss fights and stuff like that.
Right.
Just to see, how I feel about it. Because like I started playing Elden Ring. I haven't played it in a while, but I was having fun with that. I suck at it, but
Yeah.
Diablo says check out Martian Gothic Unification. Never heard of that one before.
I've never heard of that either.
what is that? Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's called. I think that's what it is. Martian Gothic Unification.
That was PS1.
But yeah, I've
title.
got a lot of games on Steam that I would throw on this list.
Yeah.
And then if we did the family thing, y'all wouldn't have to buy them. But there's a lot. And my wish list is like ever expanding on Steam too.
When was the last time you tried Ready or Not?
The first time I tried it.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that is gonna be fun with friends, but I don't have any friends to play it. So
still haven't downloaded it.
The only problem is like if we tried to play we couldn't do Ready or Not together. It won't let you play together.
Really?
Steam. Yeah, not if it's the family thing. You both have to have a copy of it.
Oh.
But yeah, like there's so many games on here that I would throw on that list. I'm looking at it right now. So many.
What's Ready or Not? I mean, it kind of looks like a
Ready
Rainbow
or Not
Six.
is
it's like a SWAT team mission thing.
SWAT team, yeah.
It's a Rainbow Six.
Looks good. It looks really good. Now I've seen some of the reviews, and people are just kind of crapping on the AI. Like certain parts of the game, you can pretty much blanket the AI for. Once you learn how the AI moves, it apparently makes the game like, not difficult at all or something like that. So I don't know.
Okay.
I will say, okay, so I'm reading the chat on YouTube and they're talking about Metroidvanias and Souls games. Chaos has sat down and watched me play so many Metroidvanias, Soul-like Metroidvanias. So many of them. Like whenever I stream him on Discord, he's always in there. He watched me play almost all of Ender Lilies. And he missed the final boss fight.
I think I would go back and play Symphony of the Night. I think that's one that I would probably attempt to play because that was the very first. That was the very first game that I streamed on Twitch when I had nothing else. Before TikTok even existed.
What game was that?
Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And the only reason I did it is because there's a friend that was on the stream with me who loved that game. And I had no interest in playing it. So he can kind of...
Slow-mo needs to play Nine Souls. Nine Souls is on my wish list. If it goes on sale...
Is that another one? Another side-scrolling?
Yeah. It's really like it's a beautiful.
Diablo over on TikTok asks, "Will you guys ever play FNAF?"
That's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
I was just gonna respond. My son is into the concept of Five Nights at Freddy's. I have zero desire to play the game, honestly.
I played it once or twice when the kids very first were talking about it. My kids, it's crazy. I don't know if it's all kids nowadays or what, but my kids will love watching people play, but they are too scared to play the damn game themselves. It's like you'll watch somebody else get scared, and you'll get scared because you're watching them, but you won't actually play the game. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just doing that. So we went through. My son loves creepy horror stuff, and I hadn't played Resident Evil 8. I bought it shortly after it came out. And I didn't play it because I watched a few playthroughs and it was like all fresh in my mind. Like I knew everything that was going to happen. So I'm like, crap, I kind of need to shelf this, play it later when I forget stuff about it. And then it'll be like kind of new and interesting. And just recently I was like, okay, PS5 setup, it's in the theater room, whatever. Like, let's play that. And my son can watch it. And he was like mesmerized and we beat it. And then I was like, oh, we got to go and play the scarier one. We got to go to Resident Evil 7.
Yeah,
And
seven
we-
was amazing. Yeah,
and we started going through 7, and there's parts of 7 for me that I'm like, oh man, I don't want to play this right now. Like, I don't need the stress, I don't need the tension, I don't need to sit down and
Diablo
feel
over
my
on
heart
TikTok
constrict.
says, "Dude, I won't play Silent Hill in the dark."
Yeah.
That's pretty dark
Bye, Chaos.
in general.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yep.
Chaos is
Yep.
splitting.
See ya.
Take it easy there,
See ya,
Chaos.
see ya.
Thank you so much for stopping in there, brother. Yeah, I started
Um,
playing. I started playing Silent Hill 3 on stream yesterday.
Oh,
Just
okay.
kind of,
Yeah.
throwing a little bit around. So
Yesterday.
you know the locked door simulators.
Oh,
Hmm.
man.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Silent Hill 2 remake's coming out soon. Are you excited for that? Are you gonna be playing that?
I'm excited for it. I haven't put any money on it, or I haven't bought it for the pre-release, but
Okay.
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm like 50-50. Honestly, it looks a little rough around the edges for a remake. Like truly, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like maybe play it, but we'll see.
Are either of you Metroid fans? I know Shadowless kind of hates Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a
Yeah.
game I played, I beat recently. It's called Ghost Song. It's a
It was called what?
Metroidvania ghost.
Oh, that
song.
sounds familiar. Is
Ghost
that
Song.
it's
It's a
guy kind of
Metroidvania.
ghosty?
I mean, it's a Metroidvania, and it's very Metroid heavy, but it's like Metroid meets Hollow Knight,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
it was very, very fun to play.
No joke. I just did a Google search just for like ghost song game, and one of the things that Google immediately puts up in kind of the top upper third or whatever was a Reddit post that says, "Ghost song, is it just me or does this game absolutely suck?"
Oh
No,
wow.
so okay,
I'm really
Look,
curious what that
I wish-
thread says.
I wish Murdo was here because he's the one that introduced me to it, and he would have tested. The only bad thing about that game is the ending.
Really?
Hmm.
Yeah, like if you're gonna play the game, go in knowing that the ending sucks.
Okay.
Diablo,
All right.
Diablo
But everything else
says
about
we
the game
should
is
try a
like
game.
really good.
Diablo says we should try a game called Paradox Soul. I've never heard of that before.
Never heard of that
Let's
either.
look. Me either.
Yeah, I'm definitely down with the any Metroid or Castlevania-esque type of game. You know, I love that genre as well. So
I need to finish yet again because I do love that game. I need to finish Link's Awakening because I was streaming that on TikTok, and I was trying to figure out like what to truly play next, something chill that I wanted to play, and now I kind of feel like I might check out like Symphony of the Night again.
I don't know.
It's been a long
That
since I
game's
played
been
it.
out. Paradox Soul's been out for 6 years and it only has 42 reviews.
Really?
Yeah, doesn't make me feel very confident that.
we'll see. But
Sweet.
anyway, it looks like we are starting to wind down, guys.
Yeah, we
Winding
are.
down
Alright.
to the wire here.
Yeah, guys, appreciate y'all hanging out this week.
Yep.
Best 2 Metroidvania kind of games I've played recently are Animal Will and Dead Cells.
I've heard of Dead
Freedom
Cells,
loves
yeah.
him some Dead Cells.
Dead Cells.
Oh, and Animal
is
Well was Donkey's
great.
first
Dead
production.
Cells was amazing.
I've never heard of
Yeah.
Animal Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an indie game that was produced by, I don't know if you know Video Game Donkey, the YouTuber, his production company. That's the first game that he decided to take on and produce. So I heard
Nice.
good
Looks
things about it.
alright.
Well,
Scott-
Shadowloo, try not to lose your
Overwhelmingly
stuff.
positive reviews.
I
So
will
does
not.
it really?
Good sign. Yeah. Means I got to
Try-
add it to my wish list.
There you go. So yeah, Shadowloos, try to enjoy some Monster in My Pocket for the NES this week. I'll be
I
going
will
back
attempt.
and streaming it. Definitely streaming it. Probably stream it along with 1 or 2 other games. Probably one other game, because if you can blow through it, it probably takes roughly 40 minutes to an hour to play and beat if you make it all the
okay.
way through. So
That's
Oh,
pretty
that's like
common
not
theme
bad
for
at all.
yeah,
NES
not really bad. You know,
I'm fine with 40 minutes.
the fighting is pretty straightforward in the game. You know, you got to jump, you got to fight, an attack button. You know, I really enjoyed the fact that this game pays homage to a lot of, I mean, obviously toys and like movie culture. You know, like I think one of the levels, you see the Hydra from Godzilla. You see a Godzilla character in there.
Oh.
You see a bunch of different, like, you know, the Japanese Godzilla type of stuff, you know, and toys. You know, you see little ghosts and little, you know, gremlins and stuff like that. And I think each of the boss battles in this is some type of reference to movies or, you know, horror or something like that. So not too
The
bad.
speed run record is 16 minutes and 21 seconds.
How
right, I'm
is
gonna
that
beat that.
possible? There's got to be a glitch in the game for that.
I'm
Literally,
gonna beat that this week. I'll beat it. Don't worry.
I'm gonna have to look that up. There's got to be a glitch or something in the game because
that's any percent. And then there's Pacifists, which is 17 minutes and 12 seconds.
without killing anything.
Oh, geez.
Pacifists.
Forget
except
that.
except for the bosses
Yeah,
in the game.
except for boss
Obviously,
fights. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
for sure.
All right, guys. We appreciate you hanging out, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, that's gonna be
All
it.
right.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good week and enjoy us next week for Monsters in My Pocket for the NES. Hit it up.